The Indus Water Treaty dispute has gone global. Last week, it was Pakistan's defense minister warning India that they will be going for a war if Indus Water Treaty is not resumed. And now we are seeing that Pakistan is conducting international conference to tell that how Indus Water Treaty and its continence is not just important for Pakistan, it is important for the whole region, rather important for the globe and the rule-based order itself. But the question here is why it came to this situation. Why was Indus Water Treaty put in abeyance? What exactly is Indus Water Treaty and what made India decide to not share water with Pakistan? Hello everyone, welcome to Vajiram and Ravi's Flash News. My name is Shubhangi Singh and in today's session we are going to understand the Indus Water Treaty, the fault line that has been created by the water between India and Pakistan, and that very treaty for which Pakistan is ready to go for war against India. So let us begin with understanding that what exactly has happened. So as of now, an international conference has been organized by Pakistan and that international conference is on Indus Water Treaty. Now the surprising part here is that the Indus Water Treaty is between India and Pakistan. India has nothing to do with so-called international conference at all, and Pakistan used this platform that they have created on their own in their own country and labeled it as international. They use this platform to again throw a warning that if Indus Water Treaty is not put in continuance again, it is going to affect the region, it is going to affect the globe, and it is going to threaten the rule-based order that exists. Now this is coming after a year when India had put Indus Water Treaty in abeyance. That was last year after the Pahalgam Terror Attack, where Pakistan sponsored terrorism, unfortunately killed so many tourists and took innocent lives in Pahalgam, Jammu Kashmir. Now when we are talking about this whole scenario, this is a very good case of understanding that how water sharing or water itself can be a diplomacy tool. So if a country is not following here, Pakistan, you can tell them that what kind of leverage you hold. Just like US was using tariffs, India here is holding water diplomacy as a major tool to tell Pakistan to clearly dictate and lay out the terms that what are the conditions of coming back on the table itself. Now to understand this better, let us begin from scratch and let us understand that what exactly is the Indus Water Treaty. Now when we are talking about Indus Water Treaty, this was signed back in 1960 and two countries signed this, India and Pakistan. This was brokered by the World Bank. Now when we are talking about this Indus Water Treaty, as Indus itself is a huge river basin and it is a transboundary river. That means it is not just present in one country, rather if you can see the map clearly, originates in Tibet, that is in China, then India and then Pakistan. Certain river tributaries also cross the boundary and have distribution in Afghanistan present. Now this river, the distribution and the water sharing had to be finalized and it happened through Indus Water Treaty, which was, as I said, brokered through World Bank. Now what was decided through this treaty? Now this treaty split this whole river basin into eastern rivers and western rivers, where western rivers such as Chenab, Jhelum and Indus were given to Pakistan. They were allocated to Pakistan. And eastern rivers such as Ravi, Beas and Sutlej, they were allocated to India. Now when we are talking about western rivers, there was a clear condition as well that India was allowed non-consumptive use on western rivers. That means hydroelectricity, navigation, agriculture, that could be done on these western rivers, but consumption based use where they will be utilizing it fully, that was not allowed for India. Now are we clear? This was the sharing mechanism that was plotted, that was finalized between both of these countries. Now this was not just about sharing water, this was also about sharing data and hydrological facts so as to facilitate and keep the cooperation going. But at the same time, even at that time, it was clearly understood that there might be disputes. So there was a proper dispute resolution mechanism that was also set. So if there is a dispute, then this is referred to the court of arbitration. If there is differences, then that is where neutral expert comes into the picture, and if there are certain questions, then that kind of resolution will be handled by permanent Indus Commission. So when we are talking about the disputes that are ongoing, such as Kishan-Ganga hydroelectric project, when we are talking about Ratley hydroelectric project, both of these are disputes that are still existing. There are issues how that Pakistan has gone to court of arbitration, but India rejects that, and India believes that it should be solved by a neutral expert, and so much more. But as this particular discussion is not centered around that, we will not concentrate our energy so much here. We will straight up move to look more into the details of Indus Water Treaty. Now, Indus Water Treaty in itself is one of the most world's durable transborder water treaties which existed up and until last year, because as of now India has put it in abeyance. India does not follow or follow up on this treaty at all. It has unfortunately survived multiple wars, be it the one that happened in 1965, be it the one that happened in 1971, 1972, be it the one that happened in 1919 Kargil war, and the later skirmishes that continuously existed with Pakistan. And based on this very treaty, there were continuous data sharing and project notifications as well that were given. Now the question is, if everything is so great, data sharing is happening, project notifications is happening, it has survived multiple wars, what is the problem? Why did all of a sudden India decide to stop it? India decided not to participate. As I have previously mentioned it as well, it was Pahalgam Terror Attack, which was a Pakistan-sponsored terrorist attack that happened on our country where innocent lives were taken. And that's when India decided to change its anti-terrorism policy itself, where they said that we are not just allow the attacks in our country, we are not going to engage with the countries which are allowing that, we are not going to facilitate, and blood and water will not flow together. That is when India said that treaty is placed in abeyance. As of now, India has not terminated the treaty, but it is placed in abeyance. Now, India has said the only time we will continue this is when a proper action is taken against terrorism, and whatever cross-border security concerns that we have, they are addressed. Before that, we are not participating, we are not part of this treaty anymore. Now, to execute this in real time, what India has done, India has taken actions such as accelerating hydropower projects. For example, Shahpur Kandi Dam, that has been operationalized, so all the extra water that used to flow directly into Pakistan, that has been contained. As of now, India is utilizing the western rivers which have been allocated to Pakistan within the technical capacity, and as of now, there has been suspension of hydrological data sharing as well. So all in all, India is using water as a tool, water as a leverage here, and Pakistan is crying foul. Pakistan is trying to divert international attention on this story, but we have to know that India has made it very clear, not just inside the country but on the international forums as well, that this is happening because of what Pakistan has been doing, and Pakistan's narrative is yet to gain momentum even though they have been shouting out loud since past 1 year. Now the question here is, what Pakistan is losing, that Pakistan has to constantly warn, take the attention and so much for Indus Water Treaty. That will tell you that why this treaty is strategically very important for Pakistan. Now first let us look at the South Asian cities which face extreme water shortage. They are expected to have extreme water shortage by 2040. And this is the surface water stress projection that we get to see. Now if you see that how it is extremely high in not just northwestern India but also majority of Pakistan as well. And given in this high water stress country, nearly 80% of the agriculture depends on the Indus basin. If India is able to stop any amount of this, it is not just going to affect irrigation, it is also going to affect the production, it is going to affect the food security, the food prices and the economy itself. Then major source of drinking water would be stopped, hydropower generation, any kind of green transition if Pakistan is considering at all, that would be stopped, and this will create an extreme crisis. And given that this treaty has been abeyance for more than a year, this is what Pakistan is facing real time. So it's not just about economic impact, it is also about how strategic and diplomatic pressure is also being put on Pakistan, and at the same time India is strategically utilizing all of this in their favor, because they are having the strategic leverage in the bilateral relations, they are having the strategic leverage in the utilization of western rivers, expansion of hydropower and irrigation infrastructure, and they are already strengthening water security in Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh. Because when I was talking about Kishan Ganga hydroelectric project, that is located on Jhelum. When I am talking about Ratle hydroelectric project, that is located in Chenab. Both of them made to facilitate Jammu Kashmir. Apart from that, I mentioned Shahpur Kandi Barrage, recently operationalized. Again, it will facilitate Jammu and Kashmir. So these are also high water stress regions in India, and this is where India is not just using that as a tool, as a leverage, but also an opportunity to put things right in our place. So the question is, what should be done next? Pakistan will be doing what they have been doing. They have been putting this issue on the international foray. They are trying to show that treaty is important for everybody, and they are using diplomacy and legal arguments to probably bring back the treaty in continents. But at the very same time, if we realistically look for India, this is when India has made it clear that treaty and terrorism will not be going along, and if it needs to be addressed, they will be addressed together. Apart from that, India still needs to focus on their own basin-wide water management. If the treaty goes into continents, if at all, then any sort of technical violations would not be taken up, and the stress needs to be managed in the given region. Apart from that, India needs to improve on storage, hydropower infrastructure, and with given extreme climate change and the effects that we are seeing, this is the time to look into climate resilient river governance as well. And as of now, it is very clear from India's end that they are still not interested to continue until and unless treaty obligation and addressing terrorism in Pakistan is on the table, is to be discussed. But let's see what the future holds. Now on this note, I will be leaving you here with a prelims practice question. Let me know the answer to this in the comment section. I'll be waiting for your answers. That was all from my side. Thank you so much.